They're trying to refocus on being the party of the working man, party of the working class. They want Elon Musk to be the foil for this. He's literally the world's richest man, very tied in with Trump. He's, again, speaking at cabinet meetings. He's doing all these cuts and stuff like that. So saying, we're the party of you, we're the party of the working man, working woman, and they're the party of billionaires and Elon Musk. That's their strategy.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by White House reporter Hasten Willis. Hasten, there's been a bit of a shakeup in the White House press corps, or at least how the White House coverage is going to be handled. Explain what's going on.
Yeah, that's right. All of a sudden, I guess we're part of the story here. They say you're not supposed to as a member of the media, but here we are. So it's been kind of a long saga. Going back to Trump, I believe this was on day one. He tried to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. The Associated Press is a very old, large news gathering organization that sends its content to a whole bunch of newspapers and news outlets throughout the country. They have a style guide, very highly valued. First, when I got into journalism, one of the first things they told me was get the AP style guide.
All right, it is generally what a lot of people in the industry use.
Yeah, it's like a standard. Yeah, it's a big deal. And they did not go along with this. They said, we're not going to do this. It's been called this for a very long time. It's an international body of water, whatever. We will make note of the fact that Trump is trying to do this, but we're not going to call it the Gulf of America.
Right.
Trump then responded by kicking them basically out of the Oval Office. They can still go to the White House, they can go to briefings, but they have not been allowed in the Oval Office or on Air Force One. They sued for their access. They lost the case. The judge agreed with the Trump administration that you have a First Amendment right. The government can't put you in jail for your views, but you don't have a First Amendment right to go in the Oval Office, basically. The judge agreed with them. And the day after that ruling came down, they made this announcement, which it seemed to me they must have thought all this out ahead of time, that they were going to control completely who is going to be in the Oval Office, who's going to be in these more reserved spaces, who's going to be what's part of what they call the pool. The Washington Examiner, we're part of the pool. There's a rotation of different print outlets, different media outlets, TV stations, because they can't get all the White House reporters in the Oval Office. It's too small of a space, so you send your news out to other outlets. So that's been handled by the White House Correspondents Association for decades. Trump administration said, well, that's over. That's out the window. We're going to be doing this. So it's a big, big shakeup. Still, the fallout from that has really just begun. But that's really a big deal within the media ecosystem here in D.C.
So I think a lot of people probably don't understand how all of that works. So when a reporter does pool duty, they work for a given media outlet, but they are essentially communicating notes of what's happening at the White House to all the accredited members of the press pool, right?
Exactly right. You're sending out notes that everyone gets. So you have people who are watching this, you may not even know, but a lot of news you probably read comes from these pool reports ultimately, because the reporter is there basically on half of the entire press corps. So if you get quotes from the pool reports, you can use them even if you're not the person who got them. But it's a big deal. It's a lot of prestige there to actually be in these smaller spaces, be on Air Force One, be in the Oval Office. And the Trump administration says that a lot of times these people are basically, left-leaning types that don't like them, and that the WHCA is also, basically a leftist institution, right? So they're going to be taking over. The White House Correspondents Association and other press advocacy groups are very much opposed to this. They're basically saying the government is not trying to pick who the government is covered by, which reporters are going to cover them. And there's the potential perverse incentives here, right? If the pool reporter asks the president a really hard question, is he going to kick them out of the pool? Things like that they're talking about. The Trump people say they're not doing that. They say they're just going to allow new media, smaller outlets, startups, conservative media in who have not been allowed in, who were not going to be allowed in by the WHCA. So we'll see where this goes. This is pretty big deal again here in Washington in the media ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. So one place where we had some reporters present was President Trump's first cabinet meeting, which included some people who haven't actually even been fully confirmed by the Senate yet. But were there any takeaways from at least the televised portion of the Trump cabinet meeting?
There were a lot, and there was a lot of a televised portion. I think it ran over an hour. I have been the pool reporter actually for previous cabinet meetings under the Biden administration. We were literally in and out of that place within 5 minutes. Trump spoke for, again, I think it was over an hour. It wasn't just him. It was mostly him, but it was also Elon Musk. Took the first several questions from his cabinet members, and there was a whole lot of stuff. You have to almost get more specific, Jim, because there's so many things going on. He talked about tariffs, talked about the war in Ukraine, talked about a whole lot of stuff. Most of it was carried live, as you're saying.
Well, and you know, one of the things was that Trump and to a lesser extent Vice President Vance were sort of using the reporters' questions as sort of a foil, which might, you know, signal how they might react to this new system.
Yes, yeah, this was the first day of the new order. They actually, Huffington Post was supposed to be the pool reporter. That's a very left-leaning outlet.
Yes.
They were kicked out of the pool by the White House, replaced by Axios. But also some more right-leaning outlets were in there. Newsmax was in there, an outlet called The Blaze. But the questions were still, fairly adversarial. And yeah, some of the responses that Trump and Vance too, they were kind of making fun of the press, basically
Right.
making fun of their questions, saying, I'm not going to negotiate with you. I'm going to negotiate with Putin or whatever.
Right.
You think I should be negotiating with the press. I'm not going to. So yeah, there is a risk there. If the Trump people take this too far, and they're only inviting a whole bunch of friendly outlets to ask them all these nice softball questions, I think people could get tired of that and kind of see this as being kind of a rigged game, right? Which could potentially backfire on them for sure. There's a risk of them taking this too far. So we'll see how it goes.
And Trump and Vance are both generally known for their ability to sort of parry with a hostile press.
Absolutely. Vance almost more so than Trump lately. He has these things that become like meme-eyes, talking about Margaret Brennan, CBS, he had the famous line, "I really don't care, Margaret."
Right.
The thing he sparred with her at the vice president debate. He's really become kind of known for that, at least within people, more conservative type circles. So again, if he's getting softball questions, you're not going to get that big moment, right? You do want to have an adversarial question lobbed at you so you can show how great you are at deflecting it.
Right. So speaking of people who want to deflect, the Democrats are trying to figure out how to effectively oppose the Trump administration, how to win back political power in the next elections. You've written a story about something some Democrats are trying to do to make the party more appealing to voters.
Definitely, yeah. I was very curious after the election what Democrats were going to do next. They had a pretty sound rejection, right? They lost the presidency, they lost the Senate, they already didn't have the House, and they're kind of leaderless right now, right? So I'm like, okay, where are they going to go? I think some of this anti-woke messaging that Republicans had, DEI, anti-DEI, was pretty effective, and Democrats have been pretty big on that, really, since 2020. So where are they going to go from there? I thought they were going to go with more of an economic message. That was kind of my internal prediction there, and I think they're really doing that. They're trying to refocus on being the party of the working man, party of the working class. They want Elon Musk to be the foil for this. He's literally the world's richest man, very tied in with Trump. He's, again, speaking at cabinet meetings, he's doing all these cuts and stuff like that. So saying, we're the party of you, we're the party of the working man, working woman, and they're the party of billionaires and Elon Musk. That's their strategy.
Thank you,
Seems to be their strategy.
Seems to be their strategy.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how it works starting as soon as this year in Virginia and New Jersey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Haston. You can read Haston and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.